Hello, everyone. I'm Sharon Chen with KCTV5. Welcome into another episode of Destination Heartland. So, today we've got a special trip planned. We are going to take a trip down the historic Route 66, just about 2.5 hours out of Kansas City to Joplin, Missouri, a town's history that begins underground. So, right now, what I want to do is bring in Patrick Tuttle. He is the director of Visit Joplin, and there's so much to talk about here, Patrick. So let's go ahead and dive in. Welcome, and thanks for joining us today. We always start with history. So tell us about the history of Joplin.
Thank you. Well, Joplin just turned 152 years old, which seems small in some cases, but we were founded by being a mining community. They discovered lead in this area, and for a long time, but for the 1800s, we think that before that, even some of the native tribes, the Osage Indians, knew that it was here. But the people settling Missouri found it in the 1860s, and it really took hold when lead was discovered here. So lead and eventually zinc put Joplin on the map. Between here and into Kansas and all the way over to Miami, Oklahoma, was at one time the world's largest deposits of lead and zinc ore. So we mined for about 80 plus years. All the mining has ceased today, but the remnants are still around, and the history is definitely still here. And it was below ground. It was all working tirelessly, way down into the earth.
Wow, that's amazing. And, when you talk about the history of Joplin, what I found so interesting is that there's even some notorious ties, people that have come through the town at some point.
We've got history here of the Bonnie and Clyde era. They were here for 13 days, kind of on vacation. A little bit of R&R. The Jesse James has been through here, has been through much of Missouri. Pretty Boy Floyd, Al Capone used to come from Chicago down to Hot Springs, Arkansas, would stop off here at Wilder's restaurant for dining. In fact, some notorious folks in your area blew it up one day thinking the Chicago mob was moving in and they wanted the Kansas City mob to stay here. So, yeah, that's been very interesting. Probably the most one is Bonnie and Clyde. We still have probably the best kept place that they lived or hid out. Actually, it's a place you can stay at. It's a 2-bedroom VRBO. One of our attorneys owns it today, and it's a beautiful place that has a past of two of our constables were killed there during a shootout. But we actually knew who Bonnie was because they left the cameras behind, and all those famous pictures you've seen of Bonnie and Clyde came out of that apartment. Our paper developed them. Now the law enforcement folks knew who Bonnie looked like, and a year later they were stopped in their tracks.
Oh, that is so fascinating. I love hearing that part of history. There's so much of that here in the Midwest for sure. And also some key figures have ties to Joplin, Missouri too.
We go back to the 60s with the actor Bob Cummings was here. He was a 60s heartthrob. Dennis Weaver, who was on Gunsmoke, and also McLeod was from Joplin. Mickey Mantle was over from Commerce, Oklahoma, but played ball here in Joplin for the Miners, Miners, excuse me, and was scouted and signed by the Yankees here. So I know our Royals fans don't want to hear that, but it's quite a legacy that came out of here. And he actually had the first celebrity named Holiday Inn was here for him.
Oh,
And
wow.
all the greats from his era had been in Joplin. In fact, the Yankees played on one of our ball fields here. Some of the Yankees came here and played, and Stan Musial and all those guys back in those days. It was quite a history here. But the Mantle family is still present over in northeast Oklahoma.
That is so neat. I didn't realize that mini mantle connection to Joplin. That is so interesting. One of the most interesting things about Joplin is that it is along Route 66, and a lot of it is mentioned in the song Route 66.
We are. St. Louis and us are both in the song. We're just one of 12 communities that are mentioned in there. We also say we're at the crossroads of many journeys because we have two interstates, there's only 4 communities in Missouri that can say they have 2 or more interstates. We're on the Jefferson Highway, which also goes through Kansas City, but it goes from Winnipeg to New Orleans, and it actually predates Route 66 by 10 years. it and the Lincoln Highway, when Lincoln Highway went uh, across the northern part, east to west, and then the Jefferson Highway went north to south. But Route 66 is turning 100 next year. It's a big celebration. We've already been into it for about a year now.
Uh-huh.
The international travelers that come here, we've had 42 nations already in our guest book this year. That surpassed last year's, and then next year with the actual centennial, we anticipate that to be even bigger. And then you add all the chatter with the World Cup, which is a great purpose. We're working towards, I know you all are gearing up there for World Cup, and we've been watching
Uh-huh.
everything. But Joplin's actually between Dallas and Kansas City, so we're anticipating, and those are both in the same conference for the World Cup. So we're been some promotions of trying to encourage the internationals at least to experience Route 66 while they're traveling between Arrowhead and the AT&T Stadium, which is it's going to be an amazing time frame for all that. So we anticipate June and July being really crazy next year. Then you add USA 250 to that. It's for us. It's the 20th anniversary of the movie Cars, which is tied to Route 66, and all sorts of things. So it's going to be a big time.
It's going to be a big time. And you guys do have some key events planned for that time as well.
We did. We decided about 4 years ago that we weren't going to do what everybody else does: car show, concert, uh, arts fair, those kind of things. So we started doing some exploring, and several of us have been enamored by the chalk art and the 3D art that you look at it and it's like a big old hole in the ground. So in that same time frame, we partnered with the World Street Painting Foundation of the Netherlands,
Mm.
and they have contact probably the best 3D artist in the world. And we already have 13 murals on the ground here in Joplin. We did three of them last year with three domestic artists. And this past year, we did 10 of them with 8 international artists. We're talking Mexico, Japan, Italy, France, Bosnia, the Netherlands. And these folks are really amazing. And these are interactive pieces of art. They're all Route 66 themed, which is part of the Centennial,
Hmm.
and they're just not Joplin. They cover it all across the area, but they're interactive. So you stand on it, you sit on it, you become part of it. There's a skateboard in one of them. You can jump on it and hang 5 or hang 10, I guess it would be, and all kinds of different things. So next year, next June, we have 20 artists coming around from around the world, and they're
Wow.
going to be contributing 20 more pieces. And so for June of next year through October of 2027, which is the end of the centennial season, we will be the world's largest collection of 3D street paintings. And we're excited about that. That's our contribution to the centennial.
Oh, that is going to be so cool. And I mean, just like you said, perfect for the World Cup because we're going to have all those countries coming through this area too. And to have that signified on the murals, that is going to be so neat. Going back
Well, there's
to,
only two ways to between Kansas City and Dallas, and
yeah,
not to ditch Wichita at all, but it's either Wichita or Joplin. So I'd much rather
right.
have them come straight down, 49 and come over here than pick up 44 and just head that direction. So, yeah, it's very interesting. We've partnered with Tulsa and Oklahoma City on some of the promotional areas. They're doing the same thing. They recognize the fact that it's actually closer to the Texas Stadium to go to Oklahoma City than it is to go straight down from here. So they're working with our colleagues in Oklahoma and Tulsa, Oklahoma City and Tulsa, and doing some cross promotion that way to attract the international guests.
Oh, that is going to be so neat. And going back to Route 66, outside of the World Cup and America's 250th, there's a lot to see along Route 66 in the Joplin area. We're talking about some key landmarks there as well.
It is. We have two things. We promote Route 66 as America's longest museum. It is, and you talk about the internationals that come here. They want to see that Americana. They want to see that how things were, and they can do that. I tell this story over and over, but I talked to a gentleman from Scotland several years ago, and I said, we just turned 150 years old, but you guys got things that are 500 years old. And he says, that's all we have. We don't have the people that tell the stories. We don't have the food. They can hit all the senses when they come on Route 66, and that's why they do it. So through here, because of the Tri-State Mining District, we have rebranded this as the Route 66 Tri-State Corridor. So we work very closely with our colleagues through the Kansas section, which is only 13 miles. It's the shortest of the 8 states, and then our colleagues in Oklahoma. So uh, Cherokee County, Kansas, Ottawa County, Oklahoma, and the Jasper County, Missouri. We hit that 51-mile stretch that we all work together and cross-promote each other. And there's everything. On the Missouri side, we've got Red Oak 2, the Carthage Courthouse, which is, ironically, the Carthage Courthouse is the second most photographed structure on Route 66.
Wow.
And actually, Missouri owns both of those because the first one is the Arch. So it's quite a thing to do. And then you got several things in Carthage you pick up. Webb City comes through here, and then on into Joplin. We've developed Mural Park, which has 3 large-scale tile murals that is a good photo op for a lot of folks on Route 66. And one of them shows the entire route, and then one of them shows our tri-state corridor, the 21 landmarks that we promote the most.
That's a lot, 21 landmarks. And I mean, you hit on some of them. The one that caught my eye is there's an ice cream store, a Super Tam ice cream store. Is that one that you have to put on the list to visit?
It is. Yeah. In fact, the family now has 3 of them along the route. They've expanded, but that one was started by a gentleman named Larry Trammell, and he collected all from his childhood to the time he sold the building, Superman. And there's lunch boxes, there's figurines, there's movie posters, there's probably, I think it's over 1,000 different items there that are all Superman related. So he was getting threatened by the folks that own Superman, and so he changed it to Super Tam,
Oh.
which is Tam for his name, and then Super for Superman. So, but it is still there. Still there. The Brileys have bought it, and then now have one, like I said, in Joplin, and also one in Miami. But it is really cool to see, all that Superman memorabilia. And again, it's something that attracts people from all over the world. They know about it, and that's the fun of it.
Yeah. And there was something else that caught my eye on that list too is there's the 66 drive-in, which drive-in theaters are kind of a thing of the past, and for it to survive still and even on Route 66 is so interesting.
It is, and it's probably the most prestigious and preserved of all of them on Route 66. I forget the number. I think it's like 4 or 5 is all that are actually dedicated still on the route. But it is probably the best kept one in best condition, and they do things all year long as they can. And the people that own it over there do a lot of really cool work. They've learned a couple of years ago, they do a Halloween night. They do open up in October for the Halloween weekend and show scary movies, and people come out there all bundled up and everything. Connecting it back to our colleagues over in Galena, Kansas, Cars on the Route is where the actual mater is at, the wrecker from the movie Cars.
Oh,
And a few
yeah.
years ago, we partnered with Pixar in the drive-in, and we had a big showing of the cars over there. It was sold out, and Pixar brought several things in. Some of the characters came, the voices, and it's a great drive-in to have. And they work all through the summer, so it's a very active place.
And that is so interesting because of that Cars connection. That's probably a big hit with the kids, right?
Oh, it is. It's a major thing. The adults too. I mean, what the fun thing is, they say, excuse me, it's allergy season. The
Yeah,
funny
I
thing to
know.
say is that when you finish going across Route 66, you finish the full 2,000 miles, go back and watch the movie Cars without the audio on. And it's because John
Oh.
Lasseter did such meticulous time of sketching landmarks, they couldn't put them all in the movie. He put them in the background. So like what you think is mountains is actually this place, or that place. What you think is a cityscape is actually this place. So he really, in the effort of doing that, he really paid homage to some of the small town type things. The voice of the sheriff is Michael Wallace. He lives in Tulsa, and he's a good friend of the route, and he pops in from time to time, and he does that little sheriff voice, and he deputizes the kids, and it's just a great connection, and it really adds value to the people that want to experience the route for the first time, or even those who are on a second or third time. You and I would probably travel the route in a week. We would probably a
Uh-huh.
week to 10 days, and the Europeans are taking full 2 to 3 weeks. They take it seriously. They pull their whole holiday and they drive it. They come in every fashion. They come in RVs. They come in motorcycles, caravans, bus tours. We have bookings today. We had one this morning and one this evening of Europeans coming in. It is always the history of Route 66 has had some bizarre things. I mean, in 1924, before it became a designated route, there was a thing called the Bunyan Run, and they ran from Los Angeles to Chicago and then on to New York City barefoot, and they
Wow.
reenact that once in a while. We had a monk that came through and walked the entire route in his full monk regalia, and then he walked all the way to New York City. Then he went back to Nepal for 2 years of silence. So
Wow.
uh, there's world records like pushing a baby carriage across routes, pushing a shopping cart. We had a guy doing a rickshaw across the route before COVID happened, and he got stopped almost completing it, but he got stopped and didn't finish the world record. So, bicyclists, motorcyclists come through. I've done most of 3 states on Route 66 on a bicycle myself, and it's you really see some different scenery that way.
Yeah, I mean, Route 66, everybody knows it, right? That is so interesting. And I imagine, too, for the World Cup next year, the traffic coming through Joplin on Route 66 is going to be absolutely phenomenal, probably.
I hope it's bumper to bumper. Everybody stops.
Yeah, yeah. But hey, we have so much to talk still about Route 66 and Joplin, but right now what we want to do is just take a quick break and we'll be right back with Patrick right after this. Well, welcome back to Destination Heartland. We are having so much fun today talking about Joplin and Route 66. So, right now, I want to go ahead and bring Patrick back in. Patrick Tuttle, director of Visit Joplin. Okay, Patrick, we had so much fun talking about Route 66, and there is so much along this route to do. But one of the things we want to talk about that is really interesting, I found about Joplin, are the murals. There's so many murals around town.
We can't claim to be the mural city. Cuba tries to keep that name, but I think we've surpassed them. Joplin, prior to the 2011 tornado, did not have a lot of public art. We did have some, but it wasn't like it is today. And if anything came out of the metamorphosis of the tornado, is that we have a lot of public art now. We have one of our connections with Kansas City is we have the last signed work by Thomas Hart Benton, and you all have the Benton home where it was actually created at up there in Kansas City still, and it's a state landmark, and it's a beautiful memory to that gentleman. But he started his artistic career here and ended it here, basically. It hangs in City Hall, and it's also we have his grandson's mural, Anthony Benton Good, whose mural hangs in the train station in Kansas City, right above the escalators. That huge mural of locomotives. So we have the grandson and the master side by side here, and they're in each other's mural, which is really kind of cool. But outside, the public art has just gone incredible. I mentioned about the Route 66 Mural Park, which we developed
Mm-hmm.
back in 2013. We have 5, 6, 7 now downtown murals in the downtown area. The location where St. John's Hospital sat was given to us by the Mercy Hospital folks, and we turned it into a Passy Park, and it has 31 bronze sculptures that both of our Rotary clubs have helped generate that interest. So it's a beautiful type thing. But in all over town, there's butterflies from the 5th anniversary past the tornado, and other things that really connect a lot of stuff together. We're getting more murals that have some sort of story or meaning behind them versus just being a geometric type thing. But yeah, it's exciting, and I think it's one of the best things that came out of the tornado, if that's something you can actually label that a positive that came out of there.
Yeah, the tornado was, I mean, we all remember how devastating that was, but to have something positive come out of that is amazing. The one thing about all these murals is there is actually like an established tour that people can take to kind of see all of this.
We do. It's semi-established. Yeah, we
Uh-huh.
have it, and you go at your own pace because we have people that come to town just to see the Benton. I mean, they go to the Benton house, they come here, and then the Walton family down at Crystal Bridges in Bentonville have several Benton pieces as well. So people who are Thomas Hart Benton aficionados will hit the state capitol, they'll hit the Truman Library in Independence, the home, and we're on that list as well. But our murals, there's no set theme to follow with them, but there are people who do pick up our writings that we have on the website, and they will follow and try to see them all. It is amazing that people take the time going into a community and want to see the public art. It's a prize. It's something that every community should have. And it took us a long time. I mean, I've been to Philadelphia several times, and the public art they have is just amazing there. And they're still growing the collection. We're a long ways off from that, but we're at least in the right direction to put things on the ground.
That is so neat. And beyond the murals, you're talking about arts and events in town, especially in the artistic sense. There is a lot in Joplin to see when it comes to arts and culture.
There's a lot more going on than what we had. Our new Cornell Center is a beautiful arts and entertainment center. It has a lot of activity going on, both in the static art side as well as the live entertainment. And that's been a really good addition to the downtown area. We don't have a hotel downtown, but all of our hotels are out by the interstates, and they're about a 15-minute drive away. But there's a lot of the VRBOs and the Airbnbs around that are available to partake in. We like the fact that we have 9 different cuisines downtown that people can choose from. So when we have people in during the day that may have already had something on the road too much, we can offer them different opportunities there. We don't have a large nightlife type thing with going on weekdays, but on the weekends it's pretty bustling.
Yeah, and I also noticed too, like there's some really unique experiences downtown too. Like you had the Joplin Little Theater, is that right? Just kind of talk about that.
That is the oldest community theater west of the Mississippi, and
Wow.
it's not right downtown. It's just on the edge of town by Schifferdecker Park, which is where a golf course is. And but it has been around a long time, and it is a great community theater. We do have a couple other ones, Stained Glass Theater that produces shows, but the DreamWorks Theater is what's downtown, and it is a very interesting impromptu company. They will take something that is you think you're going to see whatever, and they put their spin on it. It's really fun because it's so small. There's a lot of audience participation going in with things. But Joplin Theaters right now they're doing Grease, and it's been a well received production of that this year. And they do 4 or 5 shows a year, and it's all local citizens from the area. I think both universities, Missouri Southern and Pitt State, both have theater students that get involved with that, and that's a good way to them to extend their craft out into the community.
That's so neat. Okay, so one other thing I noticed on the list as I was looking through is Candy House Gourmet. Tell me about that.
Well, yeah, that's our number one bus to destination. That is a local uh, chocolate confection place,
Ooh,
and
yummy.
they do a lot of good things, and it's not brought in. It's all made right there. There are a few things that they do have that are brands that like they have the Jelly Bellies. They're a big collection
Hmm.
of those, but they make all their chocolate entity right there. And one of the fun things for some of our tours, if we have enough advance notice, you can go in and actually make your own candy bar. So they take you through the process, and you can actually get the mold and shake it out, pour the chocolate in, and add whatever you want to it, and it's very fun. Yeah, it's a very sweet location to pull into, and we have a lot of bus tours that love that connection and that part of the tour.
That sounds so cool. I love the idea of making my own candy bar. That is really interesting.
Yeah,
Let's
it's
travel.
amazing what people put in there. I mean, we put the nuts, but there's kids will put gummy bears in there and
I
all
was
kinds of
gonna
stuff.
say, gummy
Yeah,
bears
no,
always seems to be a popular choice.
yeah,
Oh,
but
that's so
that's the
funny.
fun part. You can put your own little twist to it, and then you have your own candy bar, and they do have some Route 66 chocolates in there and things, but it's good. It is really good. You
Oh,
got to
that's
see it. Got to
fun.
stop it.
That's fun. Let's talk a little bit about outdoor life, beautiful sights to see in Joplin, because there's actually a lot in that arena too.
The one thing we have that is outdoors is Missouri's largest continuously flowing waterfall. Grand Falls never freezes. Runs all the
Hmm.
time. It's not tall. It's only about 18 feet high, but it is 160 feet wide, and it's continuously flowing. It's part of our water supply. It's the number one destination. People go off of I-44. They take a break. They go see it. We get all kinds of calls. What time do you close it? What time do you shut it down? It's a piece of nature. So they do all kinds of things, but it is a beautiful place. We also have a lot of trails going in. We are about ready to open up in January. What'll be Missouri's largest municipally owned bike park is coming pretty soon. That is both trails for walking as well as for cycling, pump track for the kids. Along, sorry, my office is on downtown, so somebody had to make
Uh-huh.
some noise.
No worries.
Along Shoal Creek, which is what feeds the Grand Falls, is we have trails along there in Wildcat Park and throughout part of our park system. You can do hiking, you can do kayaking, canoeing. There's all sorts of activities that are there.
Oh, that sounds fun too. Lots to do. Um, Talk about maybe some of the more unique experiences that people can get in Joplin. I mean, it sounds like you can do everything from a girls' weekend to a full family weekend there. There's something for everybody there in Joplin.
You've been digging in, visit joplinmo.com, our website.
Yes, I
We do
have.
have itineraries on there for people that maybe want to come to Joplin but don't know what to do. And I think Kansas City is probably one of those probably the most number of people that come from the city that have looked at that and done something, which is great. We like it
Hmm.
because a lot of folks come down from Kansas City and haven't been here before or haven't spent time in Joplin. You know, we joked before the tornado that everybody's been through Joplin, but nobody stops. And after the tornado happened, they at least came to the doorstep and they spent some time. But no, but the itineraries are on there to help you plan your time in Joplin and give you some insight of what to do. Everything from, like you said, girls' weekend, shopping trips. Uh, we have a tour called Sacred Places that you can see the seven most historic churches in town, mostly because of the architecture. Um, those kind of things. So we try to help you as much as we can, and we're always open if somebody wants to call and say, "Hey, we're coming down for the weekend. Where's this or what's that?" Or we typically don't try to pick things because we kind of work for everybody, but
Uh-huh.
we want to at least give you the idea of what to do. And it is kind of self promoting, but we do work with our folks in Kansas and Oklahoma on the Route 66 because we have the largest hotel market in the area. So we hope that people come down and spend some time and see the whole area. Even our national monument. We have the first national monument to a African American and to the first non-president, and that's the George Washington Carver National Monument. It's actually about a 12-minute drive from Joplin, but it is an amazing place to see and the life of George Washington Carver when he was here as a young lad and
Hmm.
started his visions of all kinds of activities. So the Bullhead Home is out there. The Interpretive Center is really maintained by the Park Service in a very beautiful way.
Truly, there is so much to Joplin. One of the questions I always ask, and this is usually the hardest question for people, is what is the best time of year to visit in Joplin?
Well, I think we're kind of sort of like Kansas City. I mean, February and March are our coldest time frame. You know, it's also we don't get a lot of snow. I think our we may get two large snowfalls a year, February and March time frame, but we're just wet and cold. It's more about the ice than anything else, and
Mm-hmm.
that would be the two. Well, how would answer that one is that September time frame are the muggiest, and then the coldest will be February and March. The rest of the time it's beautiful, um, but any time's going to be a job. There's no bad time. We'll
Yeah,
make it work.
and it sounds like there's just so much to do there that really you could go there any time of the year and stay for a bit too.
Well, not only that, but the things change also with the seasons, like it does almost anywhere. But the maple trees over in the Carthage area, there's a drive between Carthage and Carterville on Route 66. It's a long serpentine road, and then in the fall when that's coming down, it's just beautiful to see those trees and how they're coming up there. Um, we, we the seasons change, and so do things that are going on. The events change that people attract to, but I would say you have to come down here at least once or twice to experience shopping at the fullest.
Yeah, it sounds like it. It just sounds so great. Well, is there anything else you want anyone to know about Joplin?
Well, you kind of hit on it. We visit joplinmo.com as our site. We're on the same URL for Facebook as well, and we just love to help anybody who's coming down here to walk them through. We are physically in the City Hall, which is the historic Newman's department store. It's probably one of the more historic city halls in the state as far as the architecture goes. Uh, Joplin was basically founded, the mining community, and when the mining happened, Kansas was dry and Oklahoma was a territory. It was dry and Missouri was wet. So we had the libations here, we had the eateries, we had the saloons. Most of those are gone, but we still have restaurants, hotels, and things to do. We have over 206 restaurants for
Wow.
a town our size, nearly 2,000 hotel rooms and countless VRBOs. So it's there's a lot to do, but there's a lot of opportunities as well to do it. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's about it.
All right. Yeah. Come on down to Joplin because you will have a great time, is pretty much it. Hey, Patrick, we want to thank you so much today for joining us for Destination Heartland.
My pleasure. Thank you for the time.
Well, and that does it for Destination Heartland. I had such a good time exploring Joplin today, and I can't wait until our next trip, which, remember, new episodes drop every Tuesday. So until then, bye. I'm Sharon Chen with KCTV5.